We're talking about the new Insidious movie, Out of the Further. I just saw it last night at the movie theater. And the way I'm going to do this is we're going to talk about the non spoiler section here first, okay? And then after that, I'll count to three. I'll let you know. It'll be very obvious that we are in spoiler review part, right? Okay, so let me just read the little synopsis here off IMDb. So it says Gemma, a young mother raising her daughter in the house she grew up in, discovers she can travel into the further where she possesses an ability to bring what lives there back to the real world. Okay. Now, this is there's numerous installments of Insidious, right? This is one of my favorite franchises of modern times, and this one delivers. It's a little bit had to, not my favorite one. Now, let me just read a few things off here of notes that I made. So, yes, you do see some legacy characters. I mean, not many, but you'll absolutely recognize, as well as like just familiar faces from the ghost or the spirits or whatever, right? Okay, then jump scares. This is one of the things that Insidious is known for, is to me at least, they're jump scares, right? They have that down to a science. I'm talking I would jump out of my seat 10 times, and I did. Last night at the theater, my friends know if they're going with me, I'm going to be jumping, I'm going to be doing all the things, right? And it provides those moments. Now, that being said, this movie, there's a little bit of a different format to it. There's some new stuff being brought into it. And it resonates. It's more of like a slow burn at times. Okay. They kind of try to do a couple of different directions with this. I'll go more into it in the spoiler zone. But because of that, sometimes it resonates a little too long or takes away from those intense, like, bah. And other times it feels like the movie's struggling with the past identity of like, this is what we do. And we're trying this new thing over here. So let's run back to this real quick. It almost feels formula. How do you say it? Like a formula, right? Okay, it's definitely eerie. It has that vibe to it. It has that, the chills to your bone moments and whatnot. Yes, the new direction. I'm just going back over my notes here. Uh, was it worth seeing in the movie theater? Okay, so here's my take on it. A movie like this, where it's like jumping out, scaring you, and it's dark, and you're in the movie theater, I love that. So you could totally wait for it to stream, depending on what your situation is. If you're like, I don't want to go to the movies, or I can't go to the movie, or whatever. Absolutely. I would watch it at nighttime with all the lights off just to recreate that movie theater thing, because that's one thing with this movie where you're in the silence, it's all dark, and it just has these intense bone chilling jump scares. One of the things that Insidious does really well for me, the whole franchise, is they do what, in my mind, when I was a kid, the thing that you expect when you look under the bed in the face of the whatever it was that you were going to see, they know how to recreate that and still scare you as an adult, right? So it does that really well, and it still does that. Because of this new direction that they try to freshen it up with, which is cool, it just felt like it missed the mark a little bit and made the movie feel a little bit gimmicky. Okay. Whereas some previous ones, well, of course, like the original ones, like probably the first, I don't know, definitely the first two, are just amazing, right? I don't expect a ton out of movies once they have this many versions of them. Almost think about like Final Destination. Like Final Destination is a formula movie 100%. It did not feel to that degree, but parts of it did. That being said, if you're a horror movie fan, absolutely see it. I would suggest seeing it in the theater if you can, but if you can't, totally cool, but definitely worth seeing. Now, let's get into a deeper conversation here for people who have seen it, or if you're not going to see it, you just want to hear me talk about it. So, we're going into spoilers on the count of three. So, one, two, three. You have entered the further where there are spoilers for Out of the Further. Okay, so I'm going to ruin the movie, but I won't completely ruin it. I won't do all the major things. Okay, so here's what the drill is. So it's Out of the Further. So you're being introduced to his family, well, a daughter, and she's going home to this house, and like her mom's like, oh, whatever. And this whole scenario happens where you're just like, what did the mom die? Like, clearly she's possessed something. Fast forward 20 years later, that daughter lives in that same house with her own daughter. Okay, so you already know there's some history going on, whatever. Okay, so that now this is a major plot point, so just know you're in spoiler zone. That family, so that daughter, her daughter, and the woman, the mother who died at the beginning, so those three ladies carry a hereditary gift of being able to take things in and out of the further. So the further is like you've crossed over, right? The land before wherever. So a bad guy is in the further and wants to come into the real world. Okay. And so he's been like grooming, for lack of better words, and like doing all this stuff like, oh, he has to do this and do that. So he's doing that to work on like getting them to be the courier to get him and other spirits into the main world. He's made this promise. Now, there's a side item with that he was a cult leader. Okay. So, one of the things going on in the movie, you would have seen this in the trailer where there's like these spooky people and faces, and they're like, and all this stuff. They're in that, right? But the thing is that they're actually real people. Okay. And what they're doing is they were cult followers of this dude and they're helping him and they're gassing themselves so they will intentionally go into the further and work his plans over there. It's very cumbersome, but what, because there's parts in the movie you're watching and you're like, how is that dude interacting with her? I thought he was like, what's going on? Like, oh, okay. So is he real? You see where I'm going with that? Where it's like, oh, okay, like, would anybody else notice this dude in this situation? Like, this is okay. It's a little unbelievable. Now, I know it's like, well, Paul, you're watching a horror film. Like, hello, I get that. But even in the realm of we've suspended reality and gone into their world, okay, now she has this love interest. So once you figure out that she can do this whole thing, right? Of taking things in and out, and they're trying to figure it out. She has this love interest, and he stays the night with her, whatever. Well, this is, and of course, he's just like, what are you talking about? And he's a cop, so of course, he's like, well, I'll just lock him up and do this. And she does her first experience of bringing a spirit from the further into the thing, not on purpose. And they're basically sitting there with this dead corpse guy trying to kill you in the bedroom. Their reaction, the cop's reaction, is a little bit less than what I would think somebody would react to in that. And then subsequently their actions thereafter, I'm like, so really, we're just gonna kind of roll with that. We're not completely just whatever. Now, the lady who's always been in these movies, she is back in it. She's in the further, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, and she's gonna help them do all the things. Here's one of the things with this. Because the further is used at, well, because going into the further is a different thing in this world, it happens all the time. So it takes the special scary part of it away a little bit and it makes it feel gimmicky. They go in and out of it so much that it's just like, okay. One of the things with these movies that I liked is that when they flip over into what's known as the further, so the afterworld, and they're in there, you're almost going into like another character's world and history and viewing like what their life was. And it's frightening because you're just like, oh my God, did they die in this basement or like whatever, right? And so this, it feels gimmicky. You'll see familiar faces from like the ghosts from the previous ones, but even that feels a little bit gimmicky in this one. Like it's too like it's almost a caricature of itself at this point. The direction is going. Or imagine this. So you know how Nightmare on Elm Street Part Two, Freddy can jump out, and you're kind of like, now I was a kid when this happened, like when it came out or whatever. But it was like, oh wait, he can jump out, be around the pool, and actually be in real life. Oh, okay. It kind of takes you out of the story that you know. That's what this does a little bit because it's like, well, wait, how is she working on his teeth? What's going on? Huh? Like, how are they doing this? Like, it doesn't make sense, but it does in the new world. But that part of it just goes more and more through the movie, right? So it's a thing that they did. It's a unique part to it. It works on one level. One of the things about Insidious, the original ones that always resonated with me, is that part of, like I said, the boogeyman. Like we know how they'll do things. So you look under the bed and that somebody's there, or behind the shower curtain, stuff like that. It presented that in such a realistic way that, like, when I was a kid and what I imagined would be there was, and it scares the mess out of me. This still does it, but it feels like forced at times, where it's just like we don't need to make the monster look that overdone. Just them being there would be scary. Like Insidious to me is known for this, where you see people doing something in the foreground, and you'll see like just a spirit sitting in the rocking chair in the corner, and it sends chills down my spine. It's a little bit of that, but it's forced, and maybe that's a good word for this is forced. Some of it just feels extreme, right? Where it's like reel it down. That being said, because it has so many installments, my expectation is not like way up here, like, oh, we need to have this intellectually stimulate. No. I am going to see Insidious because it's going to make me be on the edge of my seat and jump up and down when they scare me. However that vehicle arrives is great. But this one with the nuance and the new thing to it was enough to kind of pull me out of the story a little bit and be like, huh? And less is more. With the further and going into it and doing all that, they need to reel that back some and make it less of a gimmick and less of a thing and more of like a, oh, we're here. Things are about to truly get yikesy. So again, just like in the previous section, if you can go see it in the movies, um, in the theater, absolutely go do it. But if you can wait to, or if you want to wait till you see it at home, it's good there too. Just watch it with the lights off and don't be holding a drink when you jump up and scare. So, anyways, do you have a favorite Insidious movie? Have you seen this one? Let me know in the comments.